Come and dream with me.
Hello, welcome to What Do You Want to Watch, the Explosion Network's premium media podcast. Every fortnight, we get together to talk about movies, TV, and online content and help you answer the question, is it a smart career decision to ask why Keanu Reeves is still alive? No, it isn't. You know, pretty sure Matthew Perry's career's over now. Did you see this story?
Yes, I saw the story.
Wild.
Very odd story, yes.
Yes. Alright, on today's episode of What Do You Want to Watch, we'll be talking about what's in our watch history, covering some pretty big news this week. Giving this week's top 3 and giving some thumbs to some trailers. First things first, for stuff we've already got content for. Black Adam! Finally released. The hierarchy of power in the DC universe was changed, maybe. With this movie starring The Rock as an ancient man given powers by the same wizards who gave Shazam his powers, who's been trapped away 5,000 years, gets released and causes havoc in Karnak, and then the Justice Society has to come in and is like, hey, please stop causing havoc. Yeah, it's a movie. It's fine. It's pretty bland. There's some fun action sequences, but it's very repetitive, and it's just not a great time in my opinion. Dylan, can you remember what you thought of Black Adam?
Terrible movie. Don't watch it. I fell asleep at one stage. Don't watch it. You don't, and just listen to the spoiler cast because you just get to hear me complain about it with more detail.
Yeah, that's a fair summary. Although it did do, unsurprisingly, reasonably well at the box office, and there are people who actually like it. It's got a very high score on like IMDb and stuff. So the world is a strange place. That's pretty much how we break it down. I can see how it could be appealing to some people. The Rock's killing a bunch of people. He's a guy who doesn't listen to any authority figures. He does what he wants with reckless abandon, that kind of stuff. But I don't know. Yeah. I don't understand the love for it. It's the same kind. I feel like it's DC's equivalent of Venom. I'm not going to say Morbius.
I feel like this is worse than Venom.
Okay, that's be cool.
At least you've got Tom Hardy having fun with that role and there's personality to that character.
That's fair.
It's a bit more enjoyable. Like a dumb fun. Morbius and Venom are better than this movie. There you go.
I think
don't get Matt Smith dancing.
No, I can't put Morbius over this movie.
I'm putting Morbius over it. There you go. There's my ranking.
Okay, let us know your rankings. All right. Also, this past week, House of the Dragon came to conclusion. Of course, we've been talking about each and every episode over at South of King's Landing, our Game of Thrones podcast. But Dylan, what do you think of season 1 of House of the Dragon overall?
Very good. Return to form for the Game of Thrones universe franchise. Really enjoyed I didn't mind the time jumps as some people have complained about online. I thought it made sense for the direction of the show and where they wanted to get and everything like that. Really a bunch of great characters with interesting stories behind them all. Some of them sort of fit the arcs or sort of types of characters that you'd know from the original series, while others feel really different. I felt like the whole thing was put together very well. I'm very, very... I'd say this is a better first season than Game of Thrones' first season.
Wow, just
as a whole, I would say as a entire product, this was a better written, better put together first season. Not say Game of Thrones season 1's bad, of course, but most people remember Game of Thrones season 1 for the shocking penultimate episode and everything like that, and whatever else. But I'd say overall, this was a better written debut season.
I don't know if I go that far, but that's also because I haven't watched the first season of Game of Thrones since it came out. So
I'm on here for nothing but hot takes.
It feels like it. Yeah,
get ready.
I really enjoyed House of the Dragon. Obviously, we talked about each and every episode. It was pretty fantastic across the board. I feel like the time jump elements. I feel like it was probably harsher for people who were not paying attention to like online coverage and that kind of stuff, like listening to our podcast.
Yeah, I know. Someone at my work,
yeah.
Someone at my work was really shocked when suddenly it went to an adult cast member, and I was like,
"Did you not
yeah,
know
but that was like
cast?
announced ahead of time. They cast.
You didn't watch
and they were,
them
oh no, I
talking
didn't
to
know.
Comic-Con. You didn't see any promotional footage.
Yeah.
You didn't watch the trailer. It's like
The poster had the adult cast, not like the kid cast. Oh, so yeah. Anyway, so just goes to show.
It does. Yeah, it's just I feel like that was like maybe a contributing factor. But yeah, really impactful. Hard watch at times. A show that definitely needed some content warnings at certain points throughout the season, especially if you've had problems with childbirth and that kind of stuff. Like a lot of that, and it was gruesome and rough every single time. Pretty much, was there like really simple births in House of the Dragon? But yeah, really fantastic, really great performances by pretty much. I can't think of it like it's someone that was like, I'm kind of sick of this person. Everybody was came to play. You know what I mean? Yeah. So House of the Dragon leaves it in a very interesting point for season 2. I would say my only thing is I wish it had been slowed down. But if we're getting to where we want quicker, that's fine. Especially considering the show is probably going to be another 2 years before we get another season.
Yeah, I feel like the problem is that if everyone got what they wanted and it slowed down, then I feel like the opposite would be happening at the end of the season, where people would be complaining that they didn't get any action, and
you'd be like, what are we doing all season?
There's no, it'd be like, well, there's really no action until they're adults. That's the whole story. So if you want them to stay kids and like deal with that, then you can have a slow build of a couple seasons, but like there's not going to be any fighting because they're in a time of peace. It's not going to be fighting
till 2030. It's like
yeah. So like I feel like that's a thing where a lot of people think they know what they want, but in reality, I feel like if that's the show we got, like 2 seasons before a time jump or 2 seasons before they went to adults, then people would be like, "Man, this show's so slow. There's no action in it." So,
all right. We also talked about the latest Doctor Who. It was the Doctor Who Centenary special. Power of the Doctor, over on Fish Rings and Custard, our Doctor Who podcast. Dylan, what do you think of the special?
It was a fine way to wrap up the final episode for
Jodie Whittaker.
Fuck, what's the name?
Wow,
Jodie Whittaker. I said Jodie Foster for hot sex. She's already dead to me. I run. The 13th Doctor has had a run that is just sort of marred by bad writing. Nothing to do with her. I've said this a million times. Like, I feel like she ultimately deserved a lot better, but it was just that they really struggled to find a good writing team, a creative team, and I don't think the show's had this last couple of years has been the lowest of lows, I feel, since the reboot. Like, it's been on struggle street. So as far as the last couple of years of this run of this Doctor felt, this special sort of felt in line with that tone. Like, it was perfectly fine and it was fine. It was okay. Made not a lot of sense if you ever thought about it, and it was whatever. It was fine.
Yeah, I think it was an okay episode. There's like a lot of stuff that just kind of happens and is kind of you just pulled along for the ride. Nothing makes a lot of sense. I think there's some interesting moments, but yeah, and there's of course. I feel like Jodie got a good final moment, which, is important for the regeneration. I just feel like this run has been incredibly unmemorable. Mm-hmm. Can you, remember any important moment from the last 3 seasons?
There's a couple episodes that I'd say were good ever. I feel like the one that's, if I was to, if you're about what was the best episode, the one that weirdly jumps my mind is the one where they covered the whole the split between like the Civil
Parisian?
War in the Parisian. That episode was
It's crazy that
good.
it was a good episode, and then Ms. Marvel came along.
Yeah, but I feel like that. Yeah.
See, it just says
I can't.
It just says a lot.
I can't really
Unfortunately,
remember much else. Yeah.
Yeah. So of course, I don't think it's a spoiler to say that at the end of the episode, she regenerates into David Tennant.
It's all over the news.
It's all over the internet,
everywhere.
Which is shocking because shooting gut was meant to be the next Doctor. So, crazy. Yeah.
Crazy.
So there's that. We'll be talking about Doctor Who later. Don't you worry. Last thing, Tales of the Jedi we talked about over on Holocron Entries. Of course, this is a series of short film, like 15-minute films, I want to say, off the top of my head, animated, telling stories about Ahsoka and Count Dooku. Yeah, Dylan, thoughts on that?
It was okay. Animation return to Clone Wars form is good. Obviously, voice acting is good. There's some really beautiful shots and all these things in there. Lots of really great ideas. I just feel like this show just doesn't need to exist. Other than 2 episodes that actually felt like they suited the short form medium, everything else felt like it, to do justice to what they were trying to do, it needed way more time put into it. And so every other storyline just feels super rushed, and it's just a weird place to choose to do these stories if you're going to try to do them. And I personally don't feel like it was a good place to tell a lot of these stories and ideas that they're trying to do. The 2 episodes that as I talk about the thing, it's like the first one and the, I don't know, 5th or something like that. I think they're what I would say I want more out of this, just actual things that are either complementary to stories you've already seen or things that do just stand alone on their own. But yeah, it was fine.
Yeah, it was okay. It just felt like Star Wars content for the sake of Star Wars content a little bit. I mean, there's some interesting stories, especially for people who wouldn't necessarily have read more of the books and that kind of stuff, that some of this stuff may have been covered in. Yeah, I mean, it was nice to see those characters. I read this is the first time they've kind of updated some of those models, especially around from the Clone Wars series to what they're currently more doing, with the final season of the Clone Wars. So yeah, that was cool. I mean, it was a good time. All right, let's talk about stuff we haven't talked about elsewhere. I saw The Woman Kings. This is the latest film from Gina Price Bythewood, following the all-female warrior unit called the Agoye, who were in the West African kingdom of Dahomey in the 17th to 19th century. So it takes place in sometime in the 1820s. Of course, this film starring Viola Davis. She plays the main general of this army of women. Also stars Thusu Beddu, Lashana Lynch, Sheila Atom, and John Boyega. Fantastic movie. It feels is a very classic story, I guess, kind of, with but told with obviously a female army. Thusu plays a young girl called Nawi who gets who doesn't want to get married to anybody, so gets given to the king, who she's then placed into the unit, the army, and has to kind of prove herself as a soldier to be, given full-blown membership into the sisterhood. Also got the story of Viola Davis as general, and kind of dealing with a rival kingdom who are capturing their residents and selling them as slaves and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's a fantastic time. It feels like a real historic epic film. Viola Davis looks amazing and is just amazing across the board. She's, we all know Viola Davis is going to be fantastic, but she looks amazing in this. For a woman of her age, to be ripped like this is crazy.
Whoa.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Age,
It's just impressive, you know. You see her as Amanda Waller, and she's just kind of standing there in a business suit. And this, she just looks like she could take out the Suicide Squad. So, I mean, very impressive. But I think Thusu, who starred in the Underground Railroad, I think she's fantastic. I think she's going to be the breakout star of this movie. Who she gets a full, obviously it's a coming of age kind of story for her, and like becoming this great warrior and that kind of stuff. Lashana Lynch. She's fantastic in this as well. She's kicks ass. She's super funny. If they haven't already floated the idea of doing her 007 like spin-off series, they'd be crazy not to after this, in my opinion. Like some franchise should just hook their bandwagon to her. She's got star power all about her. John Boyega, she's super fun. He is doing, it feels a little bit like he's a bit over the top, like he's doing a full, Coming to America, like
how much is he in it?
I would say he's probably got like 10, 15 minutes screen time, max.
Yeah, I was thinking he would. Like, he's in the trailer.
He plays the king.
I've seen him a million times. But
he's there. He talks to a few people and that kind of stuff. But he's fun when he's on there. There's like a whole element to the royalty system, and like that. He's a young king who's only just coming to power. Viola Davis's general kind of helped him become king, and he kind of wants to get their country out of the slave business, the slave trade, even though that is kind of the biggest moneymaker element of this. Interestingly, obviously there's like non-African people in this movie, but they specifically state they're from Brazil. Like, they don't specifically go, oh, it's a bunch of Europeans. Like, that's, I think, is an interesting decision. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I definitely recommend everybody go out and check out The Woman King in cinemas now. I also went and saw Bros. So this is the latest film by Nicholas Stoller, but it's written by Nicholas Stoller and Billy Eichner, who people obviously know from Billy on the Street and a bunch of other projects. Much the similar format to a lot of these Judd Apatow films, where they like give a big, comedic star a platform to like write and direct, like, and star in their own movie. Obviously, Judd Apatow did the same thing for like Amy Schumer with Trainwreck, with
Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen with, I guess,
Knocked Up.
Who was the
Adam Sandler.
Kumail Nanjiani with what's that great movie? The Big Sick.
Great movie?
The Big Sick. That kind of stuff. Like, so that it's similar kind of thing. Obviously, it is a romantic comedy about two gay men. One who's played by Billy Eichner. He hosts a podcast called The 11th Brick of Stonewall. Very prides himself on being single, and has just started as a position as a curator for a newly opening National LGBTQ Museum of History. The other guy, played by Luke McFarlane, it's called Aaron. He's just like a much more reserved guy, but is very attractive, but has like a boring office job that he doesn't particularly like. These two don't like connect straight off, but they come to start dating each other and that kind of stuff. It's kind of a classic story, but obviously with this LGBTQ twist. Lots of funny jokes, and just weird, wacky moments that, I don't know if it's the norm for gay people, but, good for them, I guess, if it is. Yeah.
Gays are crazy, They speak such different language.
There's just a lot of, yeah. I really, it is a good time. There's a lot of fun, a lot of heart. Yeah. Billy Eichner is fantastic across the board. I would say the only, he has, I don't know if it's his sister or his best friend, is introduced at some point, as part of, no, I think it's his best friend that, is a straight woman with, you know...
This is a dude in the trailer who has kids?
No, it's the woman. The woman. She's...
Oh, the woman's
the best friend. She just disappears for like half the movie. Like for like maybe 80% of the movie, she just like is not there. And just like it's kind of weird that she's this important person that he goes to and he's barely in it at all. But that was my only real critique. I think, you know, it's enjoyable. I would say probably an uncomfortable movie to go see with your parents. There is a lot of sex scenes and that kind of stuff, so that would be my...
Is it because it's sex scenes or because it's gay sex scenes?
No, just get sex scenes in general. I think, you know, they're pretty... Are you okay with going to see any sex scenes with your parents?
I'd love to take my dad to this just to make him super uncomfortable.
It's just two bros, you know, two brothers. Let's go see it, Dad.
Let's go see it, Dad. It's called Bros. It's about real men, you know?
Real men.
Let's hit up the cinema.
Yeah, it's an interesting one that kind of gives you a glimpse into, like, a lot of the issues that I assume gay men kind of have to deal with, of like feeling attractive and like the whole like working out aspects of to a certain segment of the gay community and that kind of stuff. So yeah, really enjoyable film, worth checking out, worth supporting. So that's in cinemas now as well as The Woman King. So, you know, great double feature. Maybe. Alright, so I also went to a screening as part of the British Film Festival last night. I went to see...
BIFF, they call it. The kids call it, I think.
No, this is different.
Oh.
Yeah, so at the moment, there's currently a Brisbane International Film Festival at the moment. Across the country, the British Film Festival is currently running.
Right.
Yeah, everywhere except Tasmania. I checked. There's like... I was like, maybe there's like screenings in Hobart? No. I'm sorry. It's rough. Yeah, so I checked it.
Britain didn't happen down here.
Yeah.
British people never came to Tassie. There's no British people over here.
I tell you what, though, I don't know if... I went to see The Banshees of Inisherin, the latest film from Martin McDonagh. Let me tell you, it was weird that I was one of the youngest people in that audience. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, it was... yeah, it definitely skewed older. I don't know if that was the case, because obviously the film is also showing as part of the Brisbane International Film Festival, whether that's the same over there, or whether it was just a location thing, like the cinema that I was, of the two locations, like all the people went to this one.
How many people were in there?
I would say at least 120 in my cinema, and they sold another cinema out, so... Yeah. So yes, this stars Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson in their first role together since In Bruges, a film that we're going to talk about. We're going to do a spoiler cast later in the year. So Colin Farrell plays Podrick, just a general Irish farmer. It's set in 1920s during the Irish Civil War, but they're on the island of Inisherin, which is separate from Ireland, so they're kind of separate from the war. But this is kind of always on a thing that's going on in the background. He's best friends with Colm, played by Brendan Gleeson, but one day Colm decides, hey, I don't want to hang out with you anymore. And thus the movie ensues.
So what we talked about when we talked about trailer, that's pretty much
the instigating moment of the movie, and then it goes from there.
Cool.
It is a bit of a... This isn't going to be for everybody. It's not a massive crowd pleaser by any regards. It's definitely slow and quiet, and it really there's not a clear message to the movie, I don't think. But it is kind of exploring the idea of friendships and like what we're doing with our time, and like the importance of being nice, and the general, just, it's generally a story of that happens because men don't go to therapy, you know, that kind of stuff. I found it was a enjoyable time. It is very funny at times. A great humorous lines throughout. Colin Farrell is fantastic. Brendan Gleeson is fantastic. Kerry Condon plays Colin Farrell's sister in the film, and then also Barry Keoghan shows up as like this. He's the son of the local policeman, but he's a bit dim-witted and yeah, he's a great time as well.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, so I had a great time. I recommend seeing it. Obviously, it is not coming out in Australia till Boxing Day in wide release, so it's a bit of a hard one to say go see right now. But if you can see it somehow, go see it. If you're in America, I believe it's coming out there. If you're listening to us internationally, maybe you'll be able to watch it early somewhere. But yeah, it's a good one. Look forward to it. I'm excited to watch In Bruges again to tries to compare. So
yeah, I'm excited to watch In Bruges again too.
All right, Dylan, you checked out Smile in cinemas, right?
Yes.
So you had the choice to go
movie.
see Bros or Smile, and you chose Smile.
I tried to watch Smile because, look, I haven't been to the cinema much in the last 6 to 8 weeks or whatever it was, because cinema day is usually Thursday or Wednesday. However, both of those days, we've currently been having to record spoilercasts.
Yeah,
Wednesdays, we're recording Andor.
Because Marvel,
Thursday,
Disney Plus decided She-Hulk should be released on a Thursday. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Great show.
So,
go check it out.
Finally got a chance to sort of try and catch up. And I was thinking, there's still, I can watch Bros, but I was afraid because I'd been wanting to watch Smile for a while, obviously, and it's been in the cinemas for a few weeks. So I nearly went and watched Bros, but then I was like, nah,
this will
fuck
be
it.
out next
I was
week.
like, yeah, I don't, because I feel like if I'd said that to Smile, I bet you something disappears next week or something. But because Smile was in cinemas at PAX, so
Yes.
It's been around for a while. Anyway, Smile, for the people who don't know, has one of the best marketing campaigns of the year because they put all these actors at sports games and had them smile very creepily in the background of shots and stuff like that, which I thought was pretty smart. Paramount did a good job with that. The setup for the movie is, I guess it's similar to It Follows or something, because it's I feel like, so the whole movie is sort of an analogy for, I guess, depression, mental health, sickness, that sort of stuff, and sort of how it can be passed between people. Well, at least that's how I took it, which is, I guess, similar to It Follows being about it's like a STD, but it's a monster that's following people and they pass it through sex. This is, so the movie starts, you have this doctor, a psychiatrist or whatever, she works at a hospital, and the patient comes in and she's talking to her and she's talking about how she's seeing things and whatever else. And then the woman just suddenly freaks the hell out. She's seeing something in the room. There's nothing there, of course, or at least that we can see. And she's freaking out, losing her mind, oh, stay away from me and all this sort of stuff. And then next second, as the doctor goes to call for help, she turns around and the woman's just standing there, smiling, big smile at her. And then she's picks up a piece of a broken vase and just cuts a big smiley face into her neck and kills herself. So then after that, the doctor, psychiatrist, of course, she's mentally, distraught because she just witnessed someone, a new patient, kill herself in front of her, which is enough as it is, but she starts seeing the same sort of stuff that the woman was talking about. So people off in a distance just creepily smiling, just walking past. You see that moment in the trailer where she walks past, she goes into work next day, tries to go back to work, and then she walks past the door and there's one of the patients is just sitting there creepily smiling at her too. So she starts seeing all these things happening, and so she tries to start working out, and what she realizes is that tracking it backwards, it is something that just seems to be passed between people, each one lasting a maximum of a week after. So it's she can find all these cases of people who kill themselves, but prior to that, a week before, they were a witness to someone else killing themselves. So it's this continuous sort of thing. I thought it was very good. Not best horror movie of the year sort of thing, but I definitely enjoyed it. A few good jump scares and build up of tension. Lots of really interesting shots. I think the way it was shot and put together is really well. Makes it sort of stand out, use of the camera and stuff like that. Some of the, I guess, effects, the gore sort of stuff looks quite good at times too. At one stage I heard someone squeal from the other side of the cinema. So a jump scare got them quite good. That's always fun, and a good part of watching horror movies in cinema is you get to hear other people lose it at jump scares. So, and this was one of those. So yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it was. I think I gave it like a 7. I'll probably give it over a 7 or 7.5 on Trakt sort of thing. But yeah.
Okay. You also watched VHS 99, which apparently is the biggest Shudder debut of all time. Kind of crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, so last episode I talked about how I finally watched 94 because 1999 was coming out, so watch this. This one's a little bit different because so all these other VHS movies, they all have a plot that connects all the short films, like some weird reason why people are watching these tapes or something. They're just sort of a background thing. This one has none of that. It literally just sort of bounces between these stories.
It's like, we'll save our time.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
Like,
but
was anybody really caring about this? It's like the future stuff in Assassin's Creed, right? It's like, let's just get rid of this. Nobody cares about
there's like some people. There's some people who care about that sort of stuff. Yes. The cool thing about this one is because of the 99 thing. There is the way that the tapes are put together and everything else. It's got and the music and stuff. It's very like late 90s and stuff like that. There's even sort of footage from music videos and MTV sort of stuff that'll just flicker on the screen, sort of between some of the shorts or whatever you want to call them, like the episodes, the films, including like several times I'd spot footage from the CKY films. Like shout outs to, I think it was mostly Ryan Dunn actually seen on screen, like taking a shopping trolley off the side of somewhere. But yeah, there's a really cool story. There's a few really cool stories in here. There's one where Stephen Ogg, shout outs. Most people know him, of course, from Grand Theft Auto 5. It's like this one where this really fucked up children's game where it's like he's like the host of it, and then they this girl is like trying to win it, and it's like you got to run through this obstacle course, like it's Nickelodeon sort of shit, like slime and whatever else. But as she's like coming out of this tunnel and she's in first, the kid behind who's like trying so hard to win and be a sore loser like pushes her, and like she snaps her fucking leg and like all this sort of stuff. So then the parents want revenge and like kidnap him and stuff like that. So that's quite entertaining, especially for watching Stephen Ogg in that one. And shit goes wild. The last story is done by the team of I remember the dude's name. I can't remember the woman's name, but Joseph Winters and his wife, who did that film I talked about a couple weeks ago, the found footage one where he's like a streamer and everything like that. So it's those two. I'm having a lot of luck with these two. I'm going to be keeping my eye on them because I like their short they did for this, and I very much like that film. So, but this one, it's these two people like recording. They're going to do like an exorcism or like call upon a devil or some shit like that, and they suddenly get transported to hell. And similar to that movie, which I can't fucking remember the name of either, like Streamer or whatever the hell it was called. Similar to that, this horror story, this short, Vanessa, there it is, I found it. Vanessa and Joseph Winter.
Deadstream.
Similar, Deadstream, that's it, yeah. So similar to that movie, their short in this has a very similar vibe of it's silly, but it's supposed to be scary at the same time. Like it's hitting that comedy horror vibe, which I think they're doing very, very well, because these two dudes just end up in hell, and there's monsters everywhere. There's like a giant being in the back, and it's supposed to be the devil, but they're still like bickering and going back at one another and like arguing about things, which is quite funny to watch. And then they again, much like Deadstream, they have all the like monsters and stuff that show up in hell. They're actually like good creature special effects and stuff like that, instead of just going straight for special effects. But I really appreciate that, and I like the way the monsters and stuff look. So overall I enjoyed this one. Definitely a lot more than 94. I think this is better than the previous one, which is interesting because apparently this one was rushed into production after the success, the numbers that Shudder got on 94. So but yeah, I liked it. It was good.
Interesting. Do you reckon
they're doing another one? They already announced they're doing another one. So.
Yeah. What do you know what it's going to be called?
8. They're going backwards now.
Well, they'd have to, because they're about to hit DVD period.
Unless they've run out of space. So, yeah, I think they're going back to 80s. It's like 85 or 84 or something like that. I mean, ultimately, it doesn't really fucking matter. Like the movie started as literally VHS 2, VHS viral, then they went to the 94, 99. So it's whatever. I mean, it's just an
85
anthology
is the
series.
next
It doesn't
one, I
really. There you go.
If there's
So
going to be a
it's an
spin-off
anthology series,
called
doesn't
Kids
matter.
vs. Aliens?
I have no idea. Is that a thing?
Yeah, it's from a feature-length adaptation of the Slumber Party Alien Abduction segment of VHS 2.
All right. Yeah, sure. That is a good short. So if they adapt that to a full thing, I think that's a good idea. That's a fun story. It's literally these like kids are having a slumber party, and I think one of them's like, it's like the girls are having a slumber party, and they've got like and there's the younger brothers there of his friends or something. So it starts out very like typical teen sort of like, oh, my younger brother, or shit like that. And then next second, like the lights go out and the alien monster shows up and they're running around. And yeah, no, I enjoyed it as a short, so I think it does work as a feature. Sure, I'm down. Didn't know that. Cool.
Yeah, so that it just played Fantastic Fest back in September. So
they've already done it.
Coming to Shudder early 2023. So there you go.
Cool.
Breaking news.
Cool. I'm down.
All right, you've watched the first like 6 episodes of the new Prime Video series, The Peripheral, starring Chloe Moretz.
Yep. I was hoping to have a review up, but then I got fucking God of War. So that's
there you go.
the story of my life for a lot of things this past week. But I'm enjoying it. So I've watched 6 out of the 8. I think there's only 2 episodes that I haven't seen. I quite enjoy it. I think the setup for this one is, so it's set like in the near future where, it's like there's tech's a little bit better, but not too much better. You know what I mean? Like it's sort of realistic for what's happening. And Chloe Grace Moretz sort of looks after her mother, who's got a disease. I can't remember if they ever say anyway, she's got a disease. She's dying basically. And her brother sort of lives out in a caravan like outside the house and stuff like that, and he was like ex-army or something, but they did experiments or like he did like a certain thing where he's got like all these, you can see stuff in his back, and you're supposed to like, what the fuck is that? You're not really supposed to know. But also he plays a lot of VR games, and he gets to test a lot of VR games because of his training from the army or some shit like that. Anyway, Chloe Grace Moretz, her character is actually a lot better at this stuff than he is, even though she's just like the younger sister and stuff. And one day they get sent this new thing, and he's like, hey, I got sent this thing, and they offer me a lot of money to test this game. And she's like, yep, cool story. So she jumped into it and she's playing it, and she thinks it's all a game. But what it turns out to be is actually the future. So when she puts on the headset, she's like controlling a body, like a robot body, in, I don't know, like 50 years. I can't remember. Like something like, say it's like 50 years into the future sort of thing. And from there, they sort of have to, once that's figured out, of course, it's like, well, what the fuck? Why the fuck? Where did this come from? Not to mention then people start wanting to kill them like in the present day because of what they're doing. So yeah, it's lots of mystery box sort of things happening and trying to work out between 2 timelines and whatever else is going on. But yeah, I'm definitely enjoying the first 6 episodes so far. I'm enjoying Chloe Grace Moretz in this. Although at first, the first episode, she's doing like a southern accent. And at first I was like, oh, don't know about this, but I gave it that. By the end of the first episode, I sort of forgot like it was bothering me. But hearing her at the first, like, hey, bro, I kind of do. I was like, hey, brother, why do you, that sort of thing. And I was like, oh, this is sort of weird. But yeah, most of the characters I really, really enjoy, and the way it sort of like shifts between the parallels of the near future, where you can sort of understand like what's happening in this very small town that seems to be, run by this drug kingpin sort of thing, and it doesn't seem too far from our where we are in the present day now. And then you've got this when they're 50 years in the future or whatever, like that stuff is very much like, some shit's gone down in the world and you're trying to figure out what it is, and there's lots of questions about it, but there's lots of really like, that's the more futuristic looking setting and where all that sort of stuff is happening. So yeah, I like it. It's based on a book. I think there's like even a prequel or a sequel book or something like that. So yeah.
All right. Yeah. By William Gibson, who probably, obviously.
Yep.
Cyberpunk dude. So the first 3 episodes are now available on Prime Video. You also checked out the first episode of The Devil's Hour, the latest film, the latest series starring Peter Capaldi. It's like Stephen Moffat.
Yep,
involved,
Peter.
Right?
I don't know. Is he? I don't know.
I know.
haven't
I just saw a
personally
press
seen
photo
him.
of them together, so yeah.
Fucked if I know. He's not. He's barely even in. He only. I don't know how much the spoilers, but I.
Stephen
I
Moffat,
think he
executive
only
producer. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. He's only in it, like, that's the thing, like, Peter Capaldi's, like, all over the trailer and the poster and shit like that. I think Peter Capaldi's probably got, like, 5 minutes of screen time in the first episode, so, and I haven't got to watch the second episode yet, but, it's first episode, I'm really intrigued. I'm definitely want to go back and watch more. It is British serial killer mystery mixed with the possibility of some supernatural shit going down, because what's happening is I can't remember the actress name or anything, but the main character, she's like a
Jessica Raine plays Lucy J. Chambers.
Yeah, she's like a I don't know, like support worker or whatever. Like she sort of helps. Yeah, like a social worker type of character. Yeah, so she's like looking out for people, like women who'd be domestically abused or kids in trouble, that sort of thing. But then there's a murder case that's happening at the same time. So the first episode is like a lot of just like introducing characters and plot threads and stuff. And you know, it's all going to come together eventually and presumably in the second episode. But so she's dealing with this stuff, you know, there's like, and you get introduced to her. She also has a kid who's being like, he's got something going on because he doesn't really talk. He's a bit odd, which is fine. You know, like who knows, like just what's going on there. But it's the weird part where he's waking up and she's waking up, and the reason it's called the Devil's Hour is because they're waking up at like 3:33 in the morning, which apparently is the Devil's Hour, and they're just like, she's seeing weird shit, like ghostly sorts of things and like hearing things or whatever else, and it's like, well, is this in her head? Isn't it in her head? I don't know. Meanwhile, there's actually just a straight up murder happening, and you're introduced to these sort of cops, one of which who's a new, like you can tell he's a good detective, but he's also really hates blood and stuff. So like he's, you know, walking into a crime scene and then going outside and trying not to throw up anywhere. And then his partner's being like, you sure this is what you want to do? Like, why'd you pick this job? And doing the whole, like, he likes helping people sort of thing, but really can't. It's like really awkward because he doesn't like blood and stuff like that. So yeah, it's like all these elements sort of coming together. And then meanwhile, you've got Peter Capaldi's character, which is, like basically, I guess, Anthony Hopkins in Silence of the Lambs, where he eventually is, says that he'll only speak to her, and then that's how they start getting connected, and all these plot threads are slowly starting to come together by the end of the first episode. So yeah, I'm keen to watch the rest of it for sure. I like that was set up, but yeah, if you go into that first episode, just be prepared. You're going to have a lot of different like characters and plot threads thrown at you, and just know it's going to slowly start tangling itself together.
All right, so the Devil's Hour is currently completely, the entire season is streaming on Prime Video. Right, you also checked out the movie Sissy.
Yeah, so this is an Australian movie. I think it's coming to cinemas soon. I think like early November. What does Google
3rd
say?
of November. So this coming week.
There you go. I really liked it. I thought it was really good. So the setup for this one is you've got this, you've got Cecilia / Sissy, who's played by Aisha D. And she sort of she's out and about. Well, she's an influencer, I guess, is the other thing. So this is a movie that deals a lot with like influencer and like obsession with social media and all these sorts of things like mental health and whatever else. But she's an influencer, like a proper one. Like she's got hundreds of thousands of followers or whatever, like decent, like that's her job. She's a straight up influencer. She goes, and she used to have a best friend called Emma in primary school or whatever, and they long since haven't spoken for ages. Anyway, she's out at the start of the movie at a supermarket, and she bumps into Emma, and they're like, oh my god, I haven't talked for ages, blah blah blah, used to be best friends, like BFFs for life sort of thing. She's about to get married, so she's like, hey, you should come to my hen's party or whatever, which at first Cecilia's like, that's, you know, she's thinking maybe not, like we haven't spoken for years. Anyway, she's like, no, come. And she agrees to come. Now, the reason she was a little bit possibly like antsy about not coming, and she thought she was going to be fine, is because she knows that Emma has long been friends with Alex, who was a girl bullied Cecilia in primary school. But she thought she was going to be there. Turns out, car trip down, they're all cool, you know, talking in the car, happy, happy, happy. They get there, shit, Alex is there. And from that moment on, things just sort of take a turn as pretty much everything that could go wrong proceeds to go wrong as characters start arguing with one another and whatever else. But it is at times, dark comedy, I guess. Other times, just straight up some interesting kills that happen in this. But I quite enjoyed it. I feel like it wears its, I guess, social commentary very much on its sleeve. Like, you don't have to guess what the point of the movie is. Like, it's very much about social media and how we obsess over it, and also how people can lie. Like, people can appear on a video and constantly present their best selves, constantly present how happy and like great their life is and whatever else. And then the second they get done recording a video, they're just like having the worst day ever, or, you know, like they're not actually happy and all these sorts of things. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I would suggest watching it. Like, especially support the, you know, Australian film. So good one.
All right.
I think it was all filmed in Canberra too. So shout out.
Shout outs to Canberra. All right, you watched another Australian film, but let's talk about that in the mandatory Netflix segment of the show. So you checked out the latest Joel Edgerton film, The Stranger.
Yeah, I really like this as well. So this is a true story. So this is another one of those movies where when I was Googling it after I watched it to like just look up, because I didn't know much about the real story. And then I already seen like all these people, like the family calling for this movie not to happen, all this sort of stuff. So, because it's based on true story about, I don't know if they use his real name here. The Sean Harris's character is listed as Henry Teague. I don't know if that's the real guy's name, is it?
I don't think so.
Don't know. Anyway, what is like? It's based on this real Australian police case where they're trying that this dude is trying to get captured for something. And I don't want to say too much more because I didn't know fuck all about it. I literally clicked play. I never watched the trailer. And because of that, I think maybe that's part of the reason I enjoyed it as much as I did, because knowing absolutely fucking nothing about this, the trailer explains a lot more than I would have thought by reading the blurb or anything. Because the synopsis is literally two men who meet on a plane, strike up a conversation that turns into friendship. For Henry Teague, worn down by a lifetime of physical labor and crime, this is dream come true. Very nothing synopsis, but I was like, Joel Edgerton, Sean Harris, Australian film, let's go. I just clicked play, you know, like I don't need to watch the trailer. So I don't want to say too much more, and I'd advise no one to watch the trailer actually, because I think the trailer gives away too much. And don't read up about the real case, and I'm not going to say too much about the case.
Yeah, the names have been changed from the look of it, yeah. But it's based on the non-fiction book, The Sting, the undercover operation that caught Daniel Malcolm's killer. So inspired a little bit by the investigation of Daniel Malcolm.
So the family didn't want the movie to happen. All this, I'll say on that front, I feel like there's nothing in here that's like glamorizes the case or anything like that. And in fact, that kid, Daniel Malcolm, that's never seen on screen. Like it solely focuses on these other characters. Like it's mentioned and whatever else, sure, but it's like you never see what's happening. So my 2 cents is, people, again, we go over this conversation all the time when it comes to like crime things or whatever else, and I think it totally depends case by case, like how it's done and if it's done well and whatever else. But do I think people should make movies about like criminal activity, like, you know, like serial killers and stuff like that? The answer is, in general, yes, but there are ones where I feel like they're bad, but this is one of them. Joel Edgerton is fantastic in this, but it's Sean Harris. Sean Harris gives a fucking mesmerizing performance. Like he's in generally very good in nearly everything he's in, but I feel like this may be one of the best things he's ever done. And Joel Edgerton is just really good as well. And I love seeing him when he does these sort of this. I mean, this is what I like Joel Edgerton as. I like Joel Edgerton in these gruff sort of roles for him. These are my favorites for him. So I won't say too much. All I'd say is just watch it. It's really good. It's a slow burn. Don't expect much. It's a character piece, but I feel like it's definitely worth it. I've enjoyed it quite a lot.
All right. I watched Wendell and Wilds. This is the latest film, but from Henry Selick. Obviously, it's a stop motion animated film about. Yeah, there's a lot in this. There's a young girl named Kat whose parents die in a car accident that she believes like she's responsible for. So she's kind of holding all this angst about her. She's been kind of moved from foster family to foster place, kind of a bit of a juvenile delinquent, and finally comes back to her hometown. Meanwhile, there's these two demons in the underworld called Wendell and Wild, who are under the foot of their father, Buffalo Belzer, who tortured souls on a giant ferry. He's a giant demon to the extent where they sleep inside his nose. So for scale, he has like a fairground on his stomach that encloses has a bunch of tortured souls inside. So he's torturing them in this fairground. But Wendell and Wild, they want to create their own fairground. So Kat becomes a Hell Maiden, or was always a Hell Maiden, and they're able to use her to summon themselves into the real world, the world of living, and they set about getting the money to build up their fairground. There's a plotline about, people who want to build a prison. There's a dead priest who wants to get money for his school. There's a whole bunch of different crazy plot lines all going on at the same time. It feels, in my opinion, a bit overstuffed. There's a lot going on, and none of it is really explored that deeply. The movie moves at a very quick pace. It's fun, very interestingly well animated. I mean, it doesn't look like... Obviously, you think Henry Selick, you think Coraline, or you think Nightmare Before Christmas. It doesn't look exactly like either of those, but it has its own very unique look to it. So that's interesting. Really solid performances across the board. There is a moment where a demon, the giant Father Belzer demon comes out of the ground. Would you believe they start playing Cult of Personality? It is so funny. I'm looking forward. Hopefully someone edits, their reactions, replace him with CM Punk. I think it would be very funny. It's an interesting film. It wasn't, I didn't think it was fantastic, but it might work for some others. So yeah, that is Wendell Wild, currently streaming on Netflix, and that is everything in our Watch History. Let's move into some film news. There's probably like 3 massive stories. Which one captures your interest the most, Dylan?
Out of?
Which do you think?
The Witcher?
Yeah.
Don't know.
So The Witcher, Doctor Who, or
that's
DC?
all that's in my... Oh, just do The Witcher, because that's the most...
Alright, so...
recent of recording.
This morning we all woke up to the news that Henry Cavill will not be returning as The Witcher in Season 4. Of course, Season 3 coming out probably next year. It's not confirmed.
Late next year. Apparently Blood and Elves or whatever comes before it.
Yeah, it's meant to be this Boxing Day, I want to say off the top of my head. I feel like it's soon.
So that'll... Yeah, so then like mid-2023 maybe for Season 3?
Yes. So, this is the press release from Netflix. Breaking news from the continent, while Witcher 3 hasn't debuted yet, it has already been renewed for a 4th season, but there's a change coming. In Season 4, Liam Hemsworth will step into the titular monster hunter Geralt of Rivia. The role Henry Cavill originated in the first 3 seasons. The two actors shared the exciting news on social media Saturday afternoon. My journey as Geralt of Rivia has been filled with both monsters and adventures, and alas, I will be laying down my medallion and my swords for Season 4, said Cavill in a statement. In my stead, the fantastic Mr. Liam Hemsworth will be taking up the mantle of the White Wolf. As with the greatest of literary characters, I pass the torch with reverence for the time spent embodying Geralt and enthusiasm to see Liam's take on this most fascinating and nuanced of men. Liam, good sir, this character has such wonderful depth to him. Enjoyed diving in and seeing what he can find. Hemsworth is thrilled about this new adventure. As a Witcher fan, I'm over the moon about the opportunity to play Geralt of Rivia. He said in a statement, Henry Cavill has been an incredible Geralt, and I'm honoured that he's handing me the reins, and I'm allowing me to take up the White Wolf's blades for the next chapter of his adventure. Henry, I've been a big fan of yours for years, and it was inspired by what you brought to this beloved character. I may have some big boots to fill, but I'm truly excited to be stepping into the Witcher world. Needless to say, fans were not happy with this news. The general take being that, a lot of the anger seemed to be placed on the writers of the show. Speculation that, of course, he's returning to play Superman and his scheduling just doesn't line up anymore. What was your reaction to the news that Henry Cavill's stepping away?
I checked it wasn't a parody account or some fake thing because it just seemed so random and not like a thing that would happen considering how passionate Cavill has spoke about as for Witcher as a franchise and like sort of being one of his dream roles and all these sorts of things. So it seemed really, really weird. We don't really 100% know. There's no solid information as to why. The two biggest things that do make sense is Superman, and maybe that just requires too much work or maybe he just doesn't want to play two massive roles, which I guess is fair. Like, it's one thing to be like two roles that require a lot of work and time or whatever else, sure. The other theory, or the other two theories, I guess, is there's another one going around that apparently the writers are deviating from the source material and Henry Cavill doesn't like that, so he wants out or something like that. That was the one I saw. Yeah. And then the third one is just simply, and the one I actually think makes the most sense, is that him returning Superman is going to require a lot of work and the scheduling just doesn't work out.
Require a certain amount of body transformation.
Yeah, and all these sorts of things. So it is disappointing. I've, of course, really liked The Witcher, and I think he's fantastic in that role. One thing I will say, though, is there's a lot of revisionist history here because everyone, when he was announced to play Geralt, thought it was terrible, and the internet was saying it was going to be the worst thing ever, and they were like, the guy who plays Superman, he can't act, and all this stuff, and all of a sudden now everyone's his biggest fan, and this, like, they love him, like,
well, he's proven he can.
We're always on his side.
That's the difference.
Yeah, well, I know, but it's just like it's so annoying when people are like, they go from one thing to the other. So, yeah, I'm very disappointed. So it is, it's sort of sad because I think he's great in that role. But I guess I'm going to give Liam the same chance that was given to Henry. I personally can't picture him as Geralt. I couldn't really picture Henry Cavill as Geralt either. But I was willing to give him the go to see how it worked out, and that worked out really well. So we'll see how we go. But either way, it is disappointing.
Yeah, it was kind of shocking news. I feel like just the two bits of news together, I think. We didn't even get the weeks of speculating who could take over the role in that. They obviously had somebody lined up. Clearly, Witcher 3, Season 3, I assume they've finished shooting. So, gearing up for plans for Season 4. I hopefully we get like a solid send-off or like a end to kind of a lot of the storylines we've kind of been building up these few seasons, and it's like a clear break. It's like, this is Henry's era, this is Liam's era. As a speculation, I've seen, a lot of people bringing up remarks that Henry Cavill's had about him not feeling like they're writing Geralt the right way and being true to the books and that kind of stuff. And that's, his opinion. Of course, the show is a show, and you can't exactly pull the books word for word exactly to television. You're also juggling all these other subplots and storylines as well and trying to service these other characters. So it's not going to, especially for a book that is narrated from the book, from the point of view of Geralt, it's pretty difficult to like completely bring that across to the screen. That like dialogue part of the story. But yeah, I'd be interested to see, Henry Cavill's star has kind of risen dramatically since he started doing the show. Even after he was Superman, I feel like I'm excited, that he could do some other interesting roles and that kind of stuff. So, the other rumor that I just have to throw out because it is a possibility as well is he got Bond. That's the least likely of the reasons why he's dropped out. Because I feel like Superman would take precedent, but of course we don't have a script, we don't have any director or anything for the next Man of Steel movie or whatever it's going to be called. But you know, it's interesting. it's been all the talk of the town today. So yeah, I guess we'll all look forward to seeing season 3, and then we'll see where the show goes from here. All right. Speaking of DC, reading from the Hollywood Reporter, the hierarchy power in the DC universe actually is changing. In a stunning turn of events, filmmaker James Gunn and producer Peter Safran have been tapped to lead DC's film, TV, and animation efforts as co-chairs and co-CEOs of DC Studios, a newly formed division of Warner Brothers that will replace DC Films. The unprecedented move, in which a top director will assume a top executive post, marks the end of a month-long search for Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav to replace DC Films boss Walter Hamada, who departed the studio last week. That search had all of Hollywood guessing and playing executive bingo for who would land one of the most coveted and challenging jobs in the town. In recent weeks, Gunn and Safran were spotted on the Warner Brothers lot, meeting with Warner Brothers film co-chair Michael DeLuca about future projects, and according to sources, the initial overture to Safran and Gunn came from DeLuca over the summer, even as the studio was in shaky talks with producer Dan Lin to take the job. Gunn will focus on the creative side of things, while Safran will focus on the business and production side. Both are expected to continue to direct and produce projects, respectively. They will report directly to Vaslav and work closely with Warner Films boss DeLuca and Pamela Abdi. Sources say the deal runs 4 years, and Gunn will be exclusive to DC. The goal is for them not to just be producers, but to truly function as executives, even as Gunn will occasionally hone a movie. Dylan, what do you think of this news?
I think that's one thing to get James Gunn in there. That's like wild, but then to get the guy who did Music Jamboree and John Safran versus God is
no, that's not that
completely...
John's.
What?
No, that's
what?
Peter Safran.
Oh, Peter Safran. Right. Oh, sorry.
Peter Safran, the producer of the Conjuring films.
Right. Okay. Well, shout out to John Safran anyway. No, yeah. I mean, I woke up and again, another piece of news. You wake up this past week and you check Twitter in the morning, and it's like, what the fuck is going on? Is this a parody account? Like another check there, because James Gunn taking over. Like, well, this is like the first positive news we've had out of Warner Discovery since they
merged.
a thing. Since they merged, like this is the only thing they've done that I'm actually like, well, that's actually a good decision. Yeah, so I don't know if it's about 10 years too late, but I mean that's a good decision. Yeah, like maybe you should have like 1 or 2 people in charge and running the entire DC universe of films and stuff like that. That is an idea. It worked out for Marvel, but it seems like for so long they were like, we don't need to do that. We don't need one person or 2 people overseeing. That's silly. That's a Marvel way of thinking. So yeah, it's interesting. I don't really know what it means though, ultimately, because like, are we continuing the DCU? They've talked it back, and now it's just the
DCU.
Oh no, hold on. It's just the DCU now, not the DCEU. So now it's just the DC universe, much like you got the DC Cinematic Universe and Marvel Cinematic Universe instead of the DC Extended Universe or whatever the fuck it was called.
But then Batman, the Batman's going to be a separate universe, and of course the Joker is going to be a separate universe.
Yeah, which is fine. I still think it's totally fine to have movies and just be like, these aren't connected, and just trust. I feel like 99% of cinema-going audience is smart enough to understand when things just aren't connected and whatever else. Just put a logo on the poster, like that designates if it's part of the universe or not. Like, literally just put a DC Universe logo on the poster and be like, hey, this is a DC Universe film, and then make up another logo, like the Black Label or some shit for the Joker films and whatever else, and just do it like you do the comic books and be like, yeah, we're just treating them like comic books now. Just do it that way. Yeah, it's Black Adam was bad, but I mean, that's apparently what they're considering now, sort of the first of this new wave of the universe or whatever else. And yeah, like we're talking about, I don't feel like anyone should really care or whatever else, and it's all over the internet. And of course, we're talking about a second ago, but Henry Cavill coming back as Superman. He shows up at the end of that film. That's like his first time back in the suit and everything like that. So he's going to be a big part of the DC universe going forward, presumably. It's an interesting time for DC. So yeah, I definitely don't feel like it's bad news. It's literally the only positive news out of Warner Discovery in a year.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely interesting news. Obviously, we've enjoyed James Gunn. He's got his own vision of how to do things and sense of humor and that kind of stuff. So having him as the creative front of this, the creative side of DC is interesting, especially considering the Suicide Squad didn't necessarily make a lot of money, but was definitely well regarded within the audience, and obviously everybody loves Peacemaker, so that makes sense, I guess. Crazy to think, if he hadn't gotten briefly cancelled, none of this probably would have come to fruition. It's like a crazy series of events.
See, I saw it when posted, whoever I clicked on, Hollywood Reporter or whatever, whoever I saw this news first, in the Twitter comments, the first comment I saw was someone still posting all those tweets from him from years ago and be like, you really want this guy running your running a franchise or whatever else? And someone replied and was like, fuck's sake, dude, we already did this.
We did this like twice already.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Also interesting that the TV and animation branch will all kind of come under the same umbrella as the film branch. So, what that means for like shows like Harley Quinn or like the DC, the Batman Caped Crusader animated show that's going to show up somewhere. What that means for the future or other projects like that. Is it really interesting? Yeah, I guess it's just good to know somebody is actually at the wheel. Someone that we kind of, the audience as a whole kind of trusts to make good decisions. Is also going to be super weird when James Gunn is out promoting Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 next year.
Double thumbs up for the holiday special, by the way.
Yep. It's not part of the list, and we're not doing a one-off
no, but double thumbs up for that trailer was great.
Podcast, but yes, it's a good trailer. Kevin Bacon, am I right? So yeah, that's exciting news coming out of DC. Some of the first time. So we'll touch on this later in the show again. And then the other big news, Doctor Who. It's going to be premiering globally on Disney Plus in 2023. In a joint statement, BBC and Disney branded television have announced today that new and upcoming seasons of Doctor Who will debut on both BBC and another unlikely platform, Disney Plus streaming. Although this partnership excludes the UK and the Ireland, where viewers will be able to watch the series on BBC as always, the rest of the world can look forward to seeing new episodes of Doctor Who hit Disney Plus once the season premieres in late 2023. The announcement was revealed by none other than Ncuti Gatwa, the next Doctor as showrunner. Russell T Davies returns to work on his magic on the series again after first leading his revival back in 2005. In a statement, Davies had this to say about the news: I love this show, and this is the best of both worlds. With the vision and the joy of the BBC and Disney Plus together, we can launch the TARDIS all around the planet, reaching a new generation of fans while keeping our traditional home firmly on the BBC in the UK. Interestingly, it's also been revealed in the days since that Disney is co-producing the series, pretty much just giving the show a ton of money. Yeah. Dylan, what do you think of this news?
Hot take. It's the episode for it. I actually think this is good news. I think it was weird news, and it definitely come out of left field. But I feel like I actually think this is good for Doctor Who, because as I was saying earlier, the show has had a dwindling last like 3-4 years or whatever else. I feel like it has not picked up barely any, if any, new fans. It would have definitely had people drop off rather than start watching. I doubt those numbers are. It's definitely not in the high as it was through like the Tennant Matt Smith era. And I feel like in a world where most people aren't, so like kids aren't watching TV most of the time. They're not watching ABC at home. they're watching streaming services. So I feel like getting it on Disney Plus when they're clicking onto that to watch something or flicking between seeing what's on Disney and Netflix or whatever else. That's how most people watch things now. And having Doctor Who there front and center, they're like, oh, cool. Like I feel like it's a really great way to get the brand new young audience aboard, which is like Doctor Who's always been a show at all ages, but like kids is a big part of the fan base. It's made to scare kids, not adults, sort of thing. So I actually think it's good, and yeah, I don't. It's not a thing where they brought Doctor Who, so I struggle to get too annoyed about it. Like it's a partnership, not a Disney's got another one of the rings sort of thing. Like I think it's actually a good partnership, especially because especially here in Australia. I got sick of watching it on fucking ABC iView at terrible bit rates where it looks like shit and it's barely in HD. and I'm now thinking cool. So Doctor Who, the next special that comes out next year that I'll be watching will be in 4 fucking K. Yeah, boy.
Good though. And it says the next series.
They shoot it in 4K. They shoot it in 4K.
Yeah,
they shoot it in digital.
What I'm saying is
they
only say the next series, not the next series of specials.
No, the specials account, surely. We'll see. Either way, whatever.
They didn't have David Tennant announce the news. They had Trudy.
Yeah, true. That's my other thing. I have questions going forward. Okay, so they're saying the new series is going to come there as it airs. Cool. But are they going to have any back library to show?
I don't think so, just because of rights. Maybe they will get the rights, but, at the moment, you can watch Doctor Who on nearly every streaming service here in Australia, I want to say. Or at least it's on
ABC iView.
Start of Doctor Who. Parts of Doctor Who, yeah, like I said, my initial reaction was, this is pretty good for the show. Adds an extra level of security, it'll increase production value, that kind of stuff. It just feels weird that, after 50-something years, this show will be behind a paywall in Australia. A little weird. I will read this statement from the ABC. After a long friendship spanning more than 50 years, the universe has called the Doctor in a different direction, and Doctor Who will no longer appear on the ABC beyond the current season. The BBC today announced a partnership with Disney Plus to continue the series. ABC's audiences can continue to enjoy past seasons of Doctor Who, including the recent centenary special on ABC iView. We are incredibly grateful to the generations of Whovians who have enjoyed Doctor Who with us on the ABC. Everyone at the ABC wishes the Doctor well on their adventures, and we hope the Time Lord will visit again at some stage in the future. Feels like a bad breakup.
Yeah, I mean, there's an element of feeling bad for ABC because they.
I wondered how much lead time did they know?
Probably barely any, or if any at all.
Yeah,
I'd be surprised.
Sorry, I'm with another guy.
Completely surprised. Yeah, pretty much. So there is an element of feeling bad because ABC, that's where so as a kid I remember watching ABC Doctor Who, the old episodes, used to be on TV after 6 o'clock or whatever, at dinner time. So I've always associated Doctor Who with ABC and whatever. But as I was saying before, there's just there's that part of me going, yeah, it feels bad, man. But also the audience, I just don't feel like ABC, you were helping draw in the audience, that new audience that's needed. And I feel like Disney can do that better. So I'm picking the
conglomerate. Yeah. It's just the conglomerate of the tiny government funded TV station.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I like Doctor Who as a franchise, obviously, as an IP. I want it to do well. I don't want it to go away. So I want more people to watch it. And I really hope the new series picks things up with sort of a fresh reboot with Russell T Davies coming back, obviously. He's the guy who rebooted it in 2005, brought it back. So I feel like he's between this announcement, him coming back, everything, it really does feel like they're just trying to get this series back going in a direction and get its popularity back and everything. So I'm picking the mouse on this one. I can't. It's as bad as it is.
Also, based on that statement I just read, it does sound like the Tenet ones will come to Disney Plus.
Yeah, because they don't say anything about this. So
yeah. So really interesting news. I'm sure it would be good for the show. It would be interesting. It definitely feels like the show will be tackling a different audience, I guess. like you said, trying to skew younger with, of course, Shooty in the main role, of course, coming off the back of Sex Education, which is more of a teen-based program. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. The show's always targeted kids. The show's never targeted adults. Its target audience has always been kids. However, it's written for all ages. It's written for some episodes. Yes, they would be some episodes are going to go over kids' heads. That's fine. Some things are going to be like jokes or whatever else. But the show was made for kids as a target audience, and even when it was rebooted, it was still like any interviews and stuff like that. It was always like, okay, kids. Maybe they aim a little bit higher now. Maybe they're trying to target a little bit differently. But yeah, it's meant to be an all ages show. So I feel like Disney is an appropriate place for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the show will probably benefit a great deal from the production values, like visual effects wise, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm very keen to find out what. Even like on that teaser, I was like, oh, the production values on this for the Tenant thing, I thought that looked pretty good in comparison to what we just saw of the episode. So, in hindsight, this all makes a lot more sense. So yeah, this is a big news for Whovians out there. Last story for this week, the Actor Awards. All the nominees were announced for this year's Actor Awards, with Baz Luhrmann's Elvis leading the way on the film side with 15 nominations, while Mystery Origins picked up 15 nominations on the TV side. Pretty exciting. So we're going to go through some of the big categories, and Dylan, just give me your predictions. Are you eligible to vote?
No one I voted for. No, actually, that's a lie. Some people I voted for, but
okay. So your disclosure: Dylan voted because he signed up as an actor member, which you can do. You can sign up for a general actor membership.
Yeah, general. You have to get approved for the whatever one.
For the media,
media thing. Yeah.
All right. So yes, best film. The nominees are Elvis, Here Out West, Sissy, The Drover's Wife, The Legend of Molly Johnson, The Stranger, and 3,000 Years of Longing. Dylan, who are you predicting?
I'm just going to predict The Stranger, to be honest.
Interesting. I'm going with Elvis. I think, it wasn't my cup of tea, but it was for a lot of other people, so. And it's like the biggest, flashiest movie there, for sure. Best indie film, the nominees are A Stitch in Time, A Coney, Darklands, Lonesome, Pieces, and Smoke Between Trees.
Smoke Between Trees.
Clearly we haven't watched any of these, so I'm going to guess.
I've had to watch the
A Coney
trailers, but yeah.
Oh. Okay. Best lead actor in a film, the nominees are Austin Butler for Elvis, Rob Collins for The Drover's Wife, The Legend of Molly Johnson, Joel Edgerton for The Stranger, Idris Elba for 3,000 Years of Longing, and Damien Harriman for Nude Tuesday.
I really need to watch Nude Tuesday. I think it's on Stan.
It is, yeah.
Shoutouts. I'll go Joel Edgerton. I'm just sticking to my Stranger.
I'm going to go Austin Butler. Lead actress in a film, the nominees are Aisha Dee for Sissy, Leah Purcell for The Drover's Wife, The Legend of Molly Johnson, Julia Savage for Blaze, Tilda Swinton for 3,000 Years of Longing, and Jackie Van Beek for New Tuesday.
Tilda Swinton.
I'm also going to go Tilda Swinton. Why? Opportunity to give Tilda Swinton an award? Why not?
Why not?
Best supporting actor in a film, the nominees are Simon Baker for Blaze, Jermaine Clement for New Tuesday, Malachi Dower Roberts for The Drover's Wife, The Legend of Molly Johnson, Tom Hanks for Elvis, and Sean Harris for The Stranger.
Sean Harris.
I'm also going to show Sean Harris. Definitely not Tom Hanks. Best supporting actress in a film, the nominees are Jada Alberts for The Stranger, Jessica DeGao for The Drover's Wife, The Legend of Molly Johnson, Olivia DeJong for Elvis, Joanna Lumley for Falling for Figaro, and Yale Stone for Blaze.
Yellowstone.
Right, and best direction in a film, the nominees are Elvis, Baz Luhrmann for Elvis, Hannah Barlow and Kane Senes for Sissy, Leah Purcell for The Drover's Wife, The Legend of Molly Johnson, Thomas M. Wright for The Stranger, and George Miller for 3,000 Years of Longing.
Thomas M. Wright.
I'm going to go Baz Luhrmann. So yeah, banking on Elvis performing. Move over to the television side. Best drama series.
Louis.
Best drama series. The nominees are Bump, Heartbreak High, Love Me, Mystery Road Origin, The Tourist, and Wolf Like Me.
All in on Bump, baby.
I'm going to go Mystery Road Origins. But yeah, interesting collection of films. TV series. What? Only Mystery Road is on live action TV. Unsurprising. Yeah. I have to check out.
It's also like, people, you get fuck all original Australian TV shows on cable TV or whatever you want to call it now, because ABC barely puts out any, and neither does SBS, the two places that you'd expect them to. But Stan does put out a fair few. So whenever people complain, I'm like, there's stuff on Stan.
Three nominees on Stan, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Best miniseries. The nominees are Barons, Savage River, The 12, True Colors, and Underbelly Vanishing Act.
I haven't watched any of them. Yeah. What was the second one?
Savage River.
Yeah, Savage River, that one, yes.
I'm going to go with The 12, which I've seen ads for a lot.
Yeah. Is that out now?
What?
The 12, is that out now?
Yeah, it's on Binge or Foxtel.
Okay. Yeah.
Best comedy program. The nominees are Aftertaste, 5 Bedrooms, Hard Quiz, Sean McAuliffe's Mad as Hell, Specs and Specs, and Summer Love.
Mad as Hell.
Yeah, okay, Mad as Hell as well. I didn't realize that show finished up. I saw.
Yeah, wasn't that like a couple of years ago?
No, this year. Like
a
few weeks ago. Best entertainment program. The nominees are Eurovision Australia Decides Gold Coast 2022, Lego Masters, Mastermind, RuPaul's Drag Race Down Under, The Doghouse Australia, and The Voice Australia.
Lego Masters, the only one on there I watch.
Yeah, I'll go Lego Masters as well. Best factual entertainment program. The nominees are Backroads, Gogglebox Australia, Muster Dogs, Old People's Home for Teenagers, Who Do You Think You Are? And You Can't Ask That.
Abstain.
I'll say, Old People's Home for Teenagers. That seems like it'd be solid. Best reality program. Nominees are Amazing Race Australia, Australian Survivor Blood vs. Water, I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, Lux Listing Sydney, MasterChef Australia, and The Bridge.
Survivor, I guess. Shout outs, buddy.
I'm going to guess The Bridge. Alright. Best Children's Program. The nominees are First Day, Little J and Big Cuz, Mavericks, Rock Island Mysteries, and The PM's Daughter. Oh yeah, and Bluey.
Bluey!
Yeah, it's Bluey all the way. Best Stand-Up Special. The nominees are Geraldine Hickey for What a Surprise, Ronnie Cheng for Speakeasy, the Melbourne International Comedy Festival 2022 Gala supported by Oxfam, the Melbourne International Comedy Festival 2022 Opening Night Comedy All-Star Show, Tom Ballard Enough, and Tommy Little, I'll See Myself Out.
Old mate Ronnie.
Yeah, it's our boy, Ronnie Cheng. It's got to be.
Don't know if anyone else has supported him as much as we have over the years, to be honest.
Claimed him as much as we have.
Or claimed him as much, yeah.
All right. Best Documentary. The nominees are Ablaze, Clean, Everybody's Oma, Franklin, Ithaca, and River.
Franklin.
I'm going to go River.
Or else I'll go Everybody's Oma, which I haven't watched yet, but I want to.
Yep. Last one of the categories that we're going to list on the show, because there is a lot more categories, a lot of technical stuff as well. So, Best Digital Series or Channel. The nominees are A Beginner's Guide to Grief, Black As, Iggy and Ace, It's Fine, I'm Fine, Jimmy Reeves POV, and Aussie Man Reviews.
Aussie Man Reviews.
I'll also say Aussie Man Reviews. He's a good dude.
Yeah, nah.
Yeah. Right. That's all the news that we got for this week. Alright, let's give some thumbs to some trailers. Of course, you can find all the trailers that we're about to talk about this week by checking out the show notes below. First trailer, A Man Called Otto, directed by Mark Forrester, starring Tom Hanks, Marina Trevino, Rachel Keller, and Manuel Garcia Rolfo. When a lively young family moves in next door, grumpy widower Otto Anderson meets his match in a quick-witted pregnant woman named Marisol, leading to an unlikely friendship that turns his world upside down. Dylan, what did you think of this trailer of Tom Hanks playing a grumpy old man?
Yeah, really weird watching Tom Hanks play a grumpy old man, to be honest. I'm used to Clint Eastwood filling this role. I liked it. I feel like it's almost paint by numbers. You feel like you know what's going to happen. You know they're gonna melt his cold heart, much like Jack Frost in the Santa Claus 3. But
what a weird pull.
But it still looks good. The Tom Hanks actually doing a good Tom Hanks, but not actually just playing the Tom Hanks that you always see, but actually acting. And you know the story's going to go, but you also know that it's going to make you feel good watching it, seeing that journey happen. It's like going to be that sort of movie. So the kids looking charming and everything like that. So yeah, I'm going 2 thumbs up.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it looked good.
I went 1 up, 1 down, but I was positive. I liked it. Yeah, it just looks fine. Interestingly,
maybe I was feeling down when I watched it, and it helped cheer me up. I don't know. Maybe that was
it just lifted you up a little bit. I'm like, this is really weird.
I did watch it when it came out like a week or so ago, but anyway. I can't remember how I was feeling at the
time. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the trailer just kind of tells a lot of what the story is going to be, but that's fine because going in, you probably...
I don't feel like it matters because you know where it's going to go anyway. Even if they showed less, you'd still know.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks solid. Tom Hanks leaning into his grumpiness, I guess. This is, his age, or leaving into the stereotype of old men being grumpy. Yeah.
I like that part where the woman comes to ask for a lift or whatever, and he's like, "You can't drive," and it just cuts to like. I was like, why would you just suddenly give her a driving lesson? Wouldn't you just drive?
Just drive her there.
I was like, oh my god, yeah. Or the part where he's babysitting the kids and just falls asleep. So that's quite funny.
Yeah, it is quite funny. And he costs a clown. Interestingly, this is based on...
he stole money!
Come on, 25.
He stole a fucking quarter!
Yeah, well, he didn't let him wait till he made it reappear. Apparently, this is based on a Academy Award nominated international film from Sweden, I want to say. So yeah, interesting. So this one is coming to Australian cinemas on January 1st, 2023, which isn't far away. Next trailer for this week, The Sun, directed by Florian Zeller, starring Hugh Jackman, Laura Dern, Vanessa Kirby, Zen McGrath, Hugh Qureshi, and Anthony Hopkins. A couple of years after his parents' divorce, 17-year-old Nicholas no longer feels he can stay with his mother, Kate. He moves in with his father, Peter, and Peter's new partner, Beth, juggling work, his and Beth's new baby, and the offer of his dream job in Washington. Peter tries to care for Nicholas as he wishes his own father had cared for him, but by reaching for the past to correct his mistakes, he loses sight of how to hold onto the Nicholas in the present. Dylan, what did you think of trailer for The Sun?
I'm giving it 2 thumbs down solely because I can't believe this motherfucker made a follow-up film to The Father called The Son. Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here with that shit. No, I'm giving it 1 up, 1 down. Looks good. Hugh Jackman looks like he's putting in a good performance. Kind of crazy that fucking Anthony Hopkins is in here literally playing a father again though. Grumpy father again. But yeah, I'm keen. I feel like there's a little bit more than meets the eye to this. I don't know what, because of course there's a lot of, I don't really understand what's going on with the kid. Maybe, I don't know, he's just like depressed and struggling, like, or is it something else going on there? So, yeah, keen to watch it, of course, because the father was really, really good. So, yeah, I can't believe I was like, you're going to make your follow-up movie called The Son to The Father. Come on. The Holy Spirit, is that next?
I don't think so. It is adapted from his play, The Son. So, there is a little bit of precedence as to why it would be called The Son. I liked it. I would probably give it 1 up, 1 down as well. Obviously, it's a lot more star-filled than his last film. Not that his last film really could have had a bunch of star power. But yeah, it looks like it'll be an interesting drama about a man trying to juggle family and that kind of stuff.
It's set in one location, so...
it looks like it's set on all locations,
it looks like it's set up in heaps of different places.
Yeah, unlike The Father.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The Father's just set in one place.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
And I did enjoy seeing Anthony Hopkins here. He gets a great line. You're just here to tell me how great a father you are. Do you want a cast card?
Yeah.
What a good. So The Son is coming to Australian cinemas on the 9th of February 2023. Next trailer, 1899, created by Yancy Fries and Baron Bo Odar, starring Emily Beecham and an extensive ensemble cast. Immigrants on a steamship traveling from London to New York get caught up in a mysterious riddle after finding a second vessel adrift on the open sea. Dylan, this is a series you've been eagerly anticipated. What do you think of the trailer?
Double thumbs up. I can't wait. For people who don't know why I'm super excited for this, the long short is this is the follow-up series by the people who did Dark. It has some insane imagery in it. It has a really interesting sci-fi plot or whatever else, but like as interesting as the plot is and just the ship, like I feel like that alone is an interesting, mystery box or sci-fi sort of like thing, what's going on here and whatever else. It's the fact that I've had this experience with them before where they had a very high sci-fi show previously that dealt with a lot of really out there elements, but ultimately what made Dark so good is it had really fucking good characters and writing for them and dialogue and everything else. So as Dark is one of my favorite shows of all time, and definitely my favorite thing that's on Netflix, I would say. I can say that easily because like it's finished, like it's like I'm like you look at some of the Stranger Things, and you're like, yeah, season 2 is okay, and, this is like Dark from start to finish. It's fucking a banger. So yeah, I'm very very excited for this. Double thumbs up, 3 thumbs up.
I'll give it 2 thumbs up as well. I mean, it raises.
I hate you. You're fired.
Why? I don't have a third thumb.
I just can't allow that.
Okay, 2 thumbs down. Looks boring.
What the fuck?
No. Why are they speaking other languages?
They speak multiple languages. They're not all speaking. There's some English in this, and
so nobody's going to be happy.
Yeah, I know.
Everybody has to read subtitles. Actually, that would actually be difficult for like subtitlists, I guess. It's not like we'll just translate everything.
I can't tell. Like in the trailer, I feel like, and I could be wrong, but I feel like there's like more than 2 languages. I feel like there's like German, English, and like French or something. So like I feel like that's really interesting.
On the Wikipedia page, it's under original languages. It lists English, Spanish, French, Polish, German, Danish, Portuguese, and Cantonese.
Yeah, isn't that interesting though? Like I've never seen that in a show before.
No, yeah.
I guess it's because it's a boat of immigrants from all over the place.
Yeah.
They're all speaking their own languages. I think that's really interesting. So I've never seen that before. Yeah.
So yeah, it looks interesting. It looks like high production values, like this whole ship thing, and like what the fuck happened to that other boat. Yeah.
I feel like it's a Bermuda Triangle thing because obviously the poster has like a triangle in the background.
Yeah, they're trying to they map it out or whatever.
Yeah,
it could be. But yeah, pretty interesting. So yes, this is coming to Netflix 17th of November. Not far away.
Fucking go.
Next trailer is for Bardo, False Chronicle of a Handful of Truths. Directed by Alejandro G. Inarritu. Starring Daniel Jimenez Cacho and Griselda Cisolani, a renowned Mexican journalist and documentary filmmaker returns home and works through an existential crisis as he grapples with his identity, familial relationships, and the folly of his memories. Dylan, what do you think of the trailer for Bardo? False Chronicles of a Handful of Truths.
I'm going one up, one down. I've been reading about this movie off and on, like, since the announcement and everything, because obviously Alejandro Iñárritu is a fantastic director, and I like all of his movies. I've watched his basically. Well, I like them all. Like, even if I've got some, like Birdman, I have some problems with or whatever else. But really interesting director, obviously. This one's getting some mixed reviews out of what?
Revenant, not enough bears.
No, that's not a real thing. This one's I've seen get some mixed reviews, which I think is quite interesting. So, I'm intrigued to watch it because it just seems to be about Mexico, right? Like that's at least from what you could grab from the trailer. Like it's a dude sort of going through I don't know, like there's a part where he can't even get into his own country. Like people are telling him he's like I'm from here, and they're like, no, you're not, and he gets like carried off. So it seems to have that sort of otherworldly element that Birdman has to it, like where there's just odd stuff happening and maybe it's in his head. I don't really know, but yeah, I'm really, really interested because it's from a director who sort of just has his own style and way he likes to make movies and stories or whatever else, and this seems to have a very like personal story to it, I guess, like in one way or another. Like maybe it's to do with, I don't know, his country, I guess, like just Mexico as a country is what I grabbed from it. But I'm going one up, one down. Yeah, one up, one down.
Yeah, I think I'll probably go one up, one down as well. I mean, it looks wild. So much interesting imagery and that kind of stuff. But is it going to have like a story that kind of melds all this interesting imagery together? Yeah, it definitely looks interesting. Obviously coming from good pedigree, but yeah, there's little idea of what the actual story of the thing is going to be. Actually, I'm going to give it 2 thumbs up. As a trailer, it's definitely got me intrigued, and like the imagery is enough to get me to watch it. So as a trailer, I think it succeeds. Yeah, 2 thumbs up. So this is coming to select theaters on November 17th, before streaming on Netflix on December 16th. So yeah, look forward to that if you're in a capital city. Final trailer for this week.
If you're in a capital city, this motherfucker over here.
I'm just saying the facts. Do you think your cinema is going to be showing Bardo?
Fuck no.
Final trailer for this week. Creed 3. Directed by Michael B. Jordan, starring Michael B. Jordan, Tessa Thompson, Jonathan Majors, Wood Harris, Florian Munteanu, and Felicia Rashad. 5 years after Creed 2, after dominating the boxing world, Adonis Donnie Creed has been thriving in both his career and family life. When a childhood friend and former boxing prodigy, Damian Dame Anderson, resurfaces after serving a long sentence in prison, he's eager to prove that he deserves his shot in the ring. The face-off between former friends is more than just a fight. To settle the score, Donnie must put his future on the line to battle Dame, a fighter who has nothing to lose. Dylan, what do you think of the trailer for Creed 3?
Double thumbs up. Looks really, really good. I think this looks like return to form, because obviously the thing with Creed 1 was all about this brand new character. It was about Adonis. Well, look, obviously it had the Rocky like legacy there, because he was a Creed, like he was the son, like you always knew there was the element there, but he had like such an interesting story there, and it felt like its own world and whatever else. And like obviously we've spoken about Creed 2. I don't really like Creed 2. Like it was fine, but I didn't really enjoy it much because it became the Rocky movie again. Like it sort of seemed like he got pushed aside and everything like that. So getting back to this feels very much like why Creed with the first one was so good. Michael B. Jordan directorial debut, really cool. Interested to see like how it all comes together because of that. But I think also just like looking at the writers, like Ryan Coogler's actually back writing the story for this one. He didn't write the story for the second one. Like Keenan Coogler and Zach Bailin. And I think Zach Bailin did he do? Yeah, Creed, King Richard. But yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought. So, like, there is pedigree here between the writers, and then, like, there's the interesting Michael B. Jordan in the director's seat and everything like that. And, I mean, Jonathan Majors looks absolutely insane, like, buff the fuck out for this role. He looks scary as fuck, which is the whole point, obviously. Yeah, I'm going double thumbs up. I'm really keen. I like the story. The whole, like, a dude who has nothing to lose. That's Rocky's gone through a similar sort of opponent, and that was made for a really good movie. So, if that can hit similar sorts of tones and stuff like that, I think this is cool. But yeah, I'm keen. After the letdown that was Creed 2, really, really excited to hopefully get this franchise back on track.
Yeah, this is double thumbs up for me as well.
Double thumbs up. I can't remember if I said, but
yeah, you said it right off the top, so it's okay.
Okay, good.
This is shot straight up my list for most anticipated films of 2023. Yeah, looks amazing. Like the obviously the shots at the very end, like in the ring, I think it just looks really good. Unlike Creed 2, which was like kind of bland looking, you know. Creed. I was struggling to remember what happened in Creed 2, what, you know, other than, you know.
I think we did a spoiler cast, didn't we? Or did we just talk about it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did a spoiler cast.
Yeah, I don't remember talking highly about it. So
yeah, yeah. I think it looks amazing. Jonathan Majors, crazy. Mm. Just, you know, that shirt, he just pops up on the beach with no shirt on. You're like, what the fuck? It's like, okay, Ant-Man's got no shot. That's the takeaway. If he's built himself like this for this, surely he's got to look like that for the rest of the MCU. I mean, but yeah, I mean, it is kind of a story that we've seen told before. You know, childhood friends. One of them went to prison or whatever, and comes back and has a grudge or whatever, and they have to fight each other. But you know, there's this reason these kind of stories are retold because they're so good. And you know, I'm excited to see what Michael B. Jordan goes in the director's chair. Again, just stellar cast around him. Of course, you know, Tess Thompson's amazing as well. So, yeah, eagerly anticipating this movie, which will be releasing in cinemas on March 2nd, 2023.
So I was just looking on IMDb to see what else he has coming up, because I'm thinking, like, between this and Ant-Man, obviously big 2023. So he's filming the next Elijah Bunham movie, which is the dude that did Hot Summer Nights with Timothy Chalamet. The synopsis of this movie is: a black amateur bodybuilder struggles to find human connection in his exploration of celebrity and violence. My dude's just getting hired for all the big he's bodybuilder, boxer,
yeah, why not?
Big fucked up Kang, yeah.
Just bulk up once and then, you know, stay that size, I guess.
Do all the movies, yeah. I guess, yeah. So, interesting.
I mean, maybe someone got a set photo and like, damn, we need to put him in our bodybuilder movie.
Maybe.
Yeah, looking forward to the Jonathan Majors dominance coming forward. All right, let's wrap up this week's episode of What Do You Want to Watch with our What Do You Watch Top 3.
Definitely in the top 3.
We thought, you know, with the regime at the top of the table, we would pitch our top 3 DC projects we would like to see. So yeah, James Gunn, if you're listening, Peter Safran, if you weren't offended by Dylan confusing you with an Australian comedian, take on some of our...
I thought you were friends with Father Bob. You know, bye-bye.
Yeah. Dylan, what's your number 3?
My answers for this top 3 are going to be really boring, but I just went with my honest answers, so, you know, sorry, no big hot takes or funny things this week. But my number 3 is Man of Steel 2. Like, I really like Man of Steel. I actually like Henry Cavill's Superman. We never actually got a proper Superman sequel, so I just, like, please don't just get Henry Cavill to appear in a bunch of cameo appearances over the next 5 years. I need that. I actually want a Man of Steel 2.
My number 3 is a Resurrection Man movie. So in the wake of James Gunn announcing, or the announcement, Robert C. Cargill, obviously a writer who's worked a lot with Scott Derrickson, he brought it up. I don't know exactly how he brought it up. Maybe somebody asked what he would want to do at DC. He suggested Resurrection Man, who's a character who, when he dies, he comes back with powers that would have helped him from not dying the time before. So, I've
never heard this character in my life.
I've seen like the comic book, like on listings of comic books, but I've never actually read one. But that concept sounds interesting, and like a Scott Derrickson, Robert C. Cargill duo Resurrection Man movie, that sounds interesting. Put it on the list. Dylan, what's your number 2?
My number 2, I was going to write a Green Lantern movie because I still want one, but then I thought I'd actually just pick a storyline. So I'm going to say Brightest Day, adapt that in some form or fashion because that's my favorite Green Lantern book that I've read. It's got all the lanterns showing up, doing ballads, big old comic book event crossover thing where there's a million spin-offs that you don't really need to read. But that's, I would say, do a Green Lantern movie. Just start with that. Fuck it. Let's go hard.
Interesting. We didn't talk about it in the news, but obviously they're still working on the Green Lantern TV series, but apparently they're completely retooling it. So it's going to be a Jon Stewart-based series, which I imagine would be awkward for the actors who were cast in the other Green Lantern roles. But, you know, maybe we'll get it sometime in the future. My number 2, big budget animated films. It's been nice. We get the direct-to-DVD films on a regular basis. But give me something like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Give me like big action, big screen animated films with these cast, this slate of DC characters. Ones that you can tell multiple stories in different animation styles. You can tell these longer arcs and stories and that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's what I want. I want actual big DC animated films.
Talking like a guy who's never watched Lego Batman.
Lego Batman's great. Give me more of that. I went to see Teen Titans Go to the movies in cinemas, so, you know, give me more of that. Dylan, what's your number 1?
Number 1 is Batgirl. Like, it's not even a joke answer. It's not even like, give me the movie you just shot. In general, I want a Batgirl movie. If I could have it my way, I would actually, like, it wouldn't be the movie they were actually shooting. Like, my perfect Batgirl movie is the
Batgirl Burnside
run, like, Batgirl Burnside. That Batgirl Burnside. That's what I want. I want a teen-based Batgirl. Like, it's fucking a John Hughes movie, but it's Batgirl is what I want. You know, it's Easy A, but it's Batgirl. That's the tone of the movie I want. It's got, you know, like, it's got fuck. Where the fuck over a character's name? Black, whatever the fucking
Black Widow. Oh no, Black Canary.
It's got Black Canary in it and a fucking rock band and all this other shit. That's my perfect. In my perfect world, that is the tone and the vibe, and that's how I'd picture the movie studios. Is I'd be saying that it's Easy A but Batgirl. Fucking John Hughes movie but Batgirl. That's what I want.
Yeah. My number 1 is Henry Cavill Superman. I didn't specifically put Man of Steel 2 because I don't know if I would definitely, if you know, I doubt for one it will be called Man of Steel 2. But my dream would be just give us the good, wholesome Superman that we have not gotten this entire time. You know, give us the actual Superman from the comics rather than this guy who kills or is whiny or is angry or dead. Those have been all the options we've had so far. So
hey.
Give me a Superman that elicits hope in people. That's what I want. Give me Ted Lasso, but Superman. That's what I want.
No, that sounds horrible.
That sounds exactly like what I want. Give me Superman saving normal, everyday people, you know? Rather than just fighting giant monsters and Batman. And being killed by things, yeah.
Do you bleed?
Yeah, we don't need to see him bleed. We just need to see him help people.
You will.
Alright. Let us know what your top 3 DC projects you want to see under James Gunn and Peter Safran by going to explosion.com/Twitter or jump to our Discord at explosion.com/Discord. If you want to help us out here at What Do You Want to Watch, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, leave us 5 stars. Anywhere you can leave 5 stars or just tell people about the show. And if you really like this episode, thought it was worth $1, head on over to our Ko-fi page at explosion.com/support. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.